Welcome back to the Open Book Podcast. We left you a while ago due to the pandemic, and now we're back, rain or shine. And today, what we're talking about is fourth trimester blues. And my guest is Haley.
Hi.
Okay, we're gonna jump right in. I'm not too familiar with fourth trimester blues. I know about postpartum. I know the feeling of postpartum. With all of my kids, I was at different ages, different places in my life. So kind of touch up a little bit about postpartum or fourth trimester blues. Actually.
Okay, so fourth trimester blues is, if you look it up, it's just like the extension of your pregnancy. Now your baby's born, and that first few months is chaos. And a lot of people have a lot of different feelings and don't know how to handle them, aren't familiar with those kinds of feelings. And so it puts you as a new mom in a new situation with your babies and your husband or your significant other, like just at a weird place that you don't really know how to navigate. And so I was there.
Did you experience that? Yes.
I was there. I was totally there. I have 2 kids, a 4-year-old son and a 1-year-old son. And I know something was different now that I have 2 kids. I can compare.
Yeah.
I was not okay after having my first son.
What age, how old were you with the first one?
I was 31.
31.
31.
Okay.
And I'm now 36. I had my children at 31 and 35.
So that's a big gap.
Yes.
According to America, that's the gap that we're supposed to have, right?
Okay, cool, awesome. I fell right into that then.
Okay, so take us back to 5 years ago. Were you working? Did you babysit a lot? Were you one of those aunties that wanted to have a baby, like all that?
Ever since, I always had somebody's kid with me. From when I had my own car, I was always watching somebody's kid.
Okay.
High school, all the way through early adulthood. So I met my husband. This is all within a 5-year span. Met my husband, got married the next year, moved to another country the next year, stayed there, pretty cool, for about 3 years.
Okay.
Abruptly moved back to America, back to Hawaii, and then in a year again I was pregnant. And it was a lot. A lot was happening in my life, period. I had, prior to that, I was also a makeup artist, a traveling makeup artist. So I was doing my own thing. I wasn't tied down. I didn't have a boyfriend. And I was really just living life, having a great time.
So kind of like a carefree.
Totally.
And then you had to be like structured all of a sudden.
Just taking care of myself. And I felt I was structured for myself.
Okay. Oh,
So,
that's a good point.
right.
Structured for yourself. That's a good
I knew
point.
how to manage me.
Yeah.
And then so throw in a man, and then in a couple of years throw in a kid. I mean, I know a lot of people do that. Get married, have a baby.
Yeah.
Or meet, have a baby, get married, whatever. I know it's not just me who went through that. But the kind of events that were happening were huge. It was I was in a different country. I went from all my friends to no friends.
Yeah.
And it's just how you handle it.
So did you give birth in Hawaii?
I did give birth in Hawaii. We were close to my parents at that time, so we did have a lot of help. And our situation was pretty nice. From the outside, it was great. Shoot, from the inside, it was great. Everything worked. And what was not great was
Your feelings.
me internally. Internally. And I cannot explain in words what was happening, what I was feeling.
Sad?
No.
No?
Not sad,
Okay.
not mad. Of course happy, because
But then your body change was all weird too.
It was-
so everything was like kind of
for sure.
For women that don't know what we're kind of talking about, it's like the engorging of the breast.
Hormones are crazy.
Your hormones are crazy.
For sure.
And if you had a C-section, which you
Yes,
did,
I
right?
had a C-section. Emergency C-section.
Okay, so that's traumatic,
Yes.
right? And then you have to recoup, breastfeed, then you have a baby, then you have a husband, and you have dogs, and then
Right.
you have moms that are like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you...
And all I wanted to do was go to another island and go to work.
Really?
Yes. I mean, like,
So did you do that?
I did. I did. And I remember just feeling like, thinking to myself, like, I don't know if I like to be a mom. I love my baby. I love my husband. I don't know if I like this job. I don't mind doing all this stuff. You know, my chaos was very organized.
Yeah.
So
I love
knew,
organized chaos.
I knew exactly how to get things done, but I felt enraged and I couldn't pinpoint.
Enraged.
Yes.
Okay. So not more.
I hate to say
more
that.
So no. It's
say
good.
that
You
word.
have. It's the open book.
Yes, for sure.
This is why
It is.
Yeah. So you were mad, not sad.
I was uncertain of what I was feeling. There were so many feelings that made me unsteady.
Did you bond with him though?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
You bond. You were like, oh my baby.
Yes.
Like, you know, that kind of like the whole deal. That
I didn't want to ever hurt him. I believe that what I was feeling was the onset of postpartum.
The onset.
And
but then you kind of like maybe you controlled it.
I think my husband helped me to control it because he, you know, I spoke to him about how I was feeling, and he basically told me, like, listen, you need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody.
Yes.
If you don't want to talk to somebody, let me tell you. Let me check you right here and just let you know that if you need to be told something is wrong with you, just be mindful that you could also take that and use it as an excuse for how you're feeling.
Yeah, that's true. He should be a therapist.
So he told me, you know, be accountable for what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Like. And if you want to change it, change it.
It's
However
true.
you need to change it.
But I think some, like, from what I've heard, like other friends say, they were just there, like crying every day, like just they didn't want to touch their kid, they didn't want to dress their kid.
Right.
They just laid in bed and did the minimal.
Right.
And so their husbands were like, "What's wrong with you?" Or their parents were like, "What's wrong with you?"
Right.
And some of them just went through the motions, not even identifying what was happening because they had other children already, so they had to take care of those other kids, and they just like read it out. And then when later on, when you know it, it's already done. Those emotions are done because you're so busy with the everyday life.
Right.
So did you feel like, I'm just gonna go to work and work it out, or whatever it was?
Well, thankfully I had a really good support system. My husband being the first support, you know.
Yeah.
My partner.
Yeah.
So he really helped me to want to take accountability for how I was feeling.
That's good.
And he, you know, because of what he was saying to me, I felt it very important. Listen, I'm not going to go over, under, around this. We need to go through it so I can feel all of this and mend it back together.
So that when you have a next child, you don't, or you know.
Or I can just mend what's happening here. Because yes, it affected us.
Yeah.
You know, it affected me personally. It affected my relationship with him. And
It did?
oh, for sure.
Okay.
Because I was raging like for no reason. I would be like this for no reason.
Oh.
And
okay.
I didn't think that was uncool until I could finally step out and recognize that that was uncool, you know?
Yeah.
And should I have taken further measures and gone to see somebody?
A therapist.
Probably.
Because I was doing some research, because I'm not familiar with, like I said, I'm not familiar with any, all I hear is my friends' stories or my family members or whatever. And then I was reading, and America is the only country that does not allow women to stay home for 6 months, paid.
Seriously.
30 days is tops that you can stay home, right? 30 days, or actually 6 weeks. And you're not required to do a postpartum follow-up. You're not required, which should change because postpartum follow-ups should also have a therapist there.
Right.
You should get a psychological evaluation.
Not just asking you, oh, how are you feeling?
How's your boobs?
I could tell you I'm good.
How's your sore?
I told
How's
everybody
all that?
I'm good,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, but a psychological assessment would be able to identify if you have what's being triggered, the emotions, and then a therapist would go and work in it. So I think America should have that, like other countries have. Other countries have it.
You know, we lack in a lot of areas
We
like
do.
that.
We do. And then a lot of people don't even realize what fourth trimester blues are, or they say because I'm not.
Wanting to hurt my child.
Yeah, then I'm cool. I can just like I'm probably just sad or whatever.
Right.
But
I'll get over it.
I've seen also women that have given birth and then never became themselves again, ever, ever.
Right.
Like
Sorry,
they don't
I'm laughing
work.
at that.
No, it's
But
true, right?
yes.
Because they never work, they never want to get ready, they never want to go out. They never want to leave their kids home. All of that comes, I think, with the whole psychological part of becoming a mom and like do you think it's a chemical imbalance?
Partially.
You
Partially. I
I
don't know
wondered.
if chemical imbalance and hormonal imbalance is the same thing, but I know that one of my girlfriends was saying like, it took me 6.5 years for me to feel
like herself.
normal.
Really?
Body, just the way I operate, for me to feel like completely like myself again. However, I don't believe that after you have a child, that self you know and we're so familiar with, I don't know if that person comes back.
You hope that you're not the same
Oh,
person.
I hope I'm not going to be the same. Yeah.
But I also think with every child you have, you change. Do you feel that? Like your first one changed doing this way. Second child now,
Yes.
you're a different mom, right?
And here's a kicker. I felt none of those emotions that I felt with my first child with my second.
Really?
So that
Do you
also
think
made me
environment plays a part in it?
huge, but and I keep going back to this, that it's me taking responsibility for the way that I'm conducting myself and how I'm allowing, like, what I'm feeling inside, how I'm allowing it to come out of me.
Yes, yes.
And that, to me personally, is a very big thing to deal with and a thing to hone.
Yeah.
Just like learning to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah,
like just kind of like that.
It is. I was trying to think when I was 17, if I felt any type of sadness. I think I was such a kid. I didn't feel anything like that. And then with my second one, that was like 3 years later, I don't think I felt anything. But when I was recapping what I felt with the third, they were old already, so that was like
You're restarting
everything again. I had 2 jobs. I was going to school. I was gonna have this baby, and I was crying all the time. I was so upset that I was going to have to quit one of those jobs. I was going to have to modify my schedule.
Right.
I was going to have to leave her in the care of someone. So I remember the first day I had to go back to work. I was so sad. And I was crying. I was crying at the door with the 2 kids, the baby in the car seat.
How old was she?
She was a month. I went back to work in 4 weeks. Because I wanted to which was crazy because I wanted to. But I did. And I was upset. I don't know why I was upset. And I was like, I was mad. I was like, I got to pack the bottles and I have to carry this bag. And I actually didn't strap the car seat in good because I was so flustered.
Right.
And when I made a turn, the car seat rolled out of the base.
Oh my God.
Because I was so pissed off that I had to pack up this kid. So now thinking about it, I probably had some type of something going on. And then I kind of like checked myself when she rolled to the other seat, like, oh crap, what the heck? I was so mad. I didn't even focus on my baby. What kind of mother am I that I feel like that?
Right.
So I had to take a moment, and like you said, I had to check my own, like, my well-being.
Right.
And I was like, actually, that job's not even worth it for me to be that pissed off about. Like,
totally.
I think it was just a lot of stuff coming into play.
I think there is like a lot of things that professionals don't tell you about how you will feel like after you have a child. That influx in hormones, the up and down of that. Yes.
I think it should be mandatory.
The details of learning how to breastfeed.
Yes. If you don't take that $500 class, how are you going to know how to breastfeed? Because it's not a free class. It's not something that they give women like training on.
They might
assume,
have,
right?
Well, now I know that there is consultants that you can come and see, but it's apart from what happens right after you have a baby. You got to make the appointment. You got to do that. So you need to be, while you're feeling all these new things, you need to be proactive and go do this. Some people don't want to do that.
And that's what I read. The stats on that is like only 40% of women go to their postpartum checkup. 40%.
Right.
Because why? No sitter. They feel gross. They don't even want to go.
Right.
They're tired. They just
They don't
care.
need it. I feel
yeah,
normal.
I feel, especially right if you had more than one child. I don't need the postpartum.
I'm good this time.
Yes. Were you late to your postpartum?
No.
Well, maybe because of the pandemic.
No, I was not.
Okay.
Now that I'm getting older, I'm also, going to be 36. I feel it's very important now not to be so lax on those kinds of things.
Those things
When
are
I was
important.
younger, I didn't really care. Like, if I don't feel wrong, nothing's wrong.
So what would be your advice for anyone listening who feel like they may be or might feel that way, or in the future, if they do feel this way, what would be the advice?
Take time for yourself.
Yeah.
If your baby's crying and you can't handle it, walk away. The simplest but hardest thing to do, you need to do it for yourself, because you cannot take care of them if you're not good.
Yeah.
And if somebody, ask to go to the store by yourself. Ask your partner. Ask your mom. If, here, we don't have family here, besides you guys. Everybody lives very far away. But I don't have like immediate grandparents here. My brother is a brother, so really I'm not going to, he doesn't have kids, so I'm not going to be like, hey. But I find it very important for me to just leave the house alone and do things by myself. Shoot it. I have gone into the car by myself in the garage because this house is mad sometimes.
Yeah.
And just go there and just, chill out for a second.
A lot of moms don't do that. I sit in the garage and eat donuts all by myself.
I feel like if there's something you can do for your sanity and for yourself and for all of the changes that are happening in your life, doing it alone is huge.
Yes.
Big time.
Doing it alone is huge. And if you don't have a support system, then maybe you should look into getting a therapist.
For sure.
Alone is amazing. Alone time is amazing. Taking breaks is amazing. I think that's great advice.
I don't mean to discount people who don't have any help. And I cannot speak on that. If I didn't have a single soul to help me and I was doing this completely by myself, I don't know what I would do.
That must be hard for women who only have themselves, like single moms
I
with
give
no
them
family.
the most credit,
Yes. My advice, I think, to them would be to confide in a friend, confide in a therapist, confide in a teacher if you're a teen mom, confide in anyone that you feel a connection with, or even if you don't feel a connection to them. I feel
reach out to people in your community.
Yes. We will add in the link where you can possibly get some type of help or counseling to help you, because these podcasts are also here to not only talk about things that people don't want to talk about, but also to give you resources so that you can find ways to get some help. Before we close up, what are your thoughts on babies and pandemic? Babies that were born in the pandemic. Since you're talking about kids and babies.
Wow, that's a good one, because I have had a handful of friends who had a baby. My child is not a pandemic baby. He was born right at the beginning in March of 2020. And after that, I just saw
so many
babies being born.
My grandson.
Your grandson.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think that it's even harder.
It is.
Because you don't got as many outlets. You don't have as many resources as readily available because of the pandemic. And so I feel like to those friends, all I can do and suggest is really more so try and be there for them. If you need to just talk, if you have a question, if you need a lasagna, like I will bring you one, things like that.
Before I forget, a lot of women don't want to take help from other women. Why?
I don't know.
I like help. If anybody ever wants to help me, you want to drop a lasagna, drop one. I will take it. I have a vegan child, by the way. But I think that women helping women, and that's something that we do to each other.
Yes.
I think we call each other and we're like, do you need this? Do you need that? I'm blessed to have an amazing family.
Yes.
Our family really shows up, shows out. My neighbors are awesome. I think that if you don't have anybody to help you, if you need us to come drop you lasagna, or if you need a coffee, we will do it. You just have to hit me up and I'll do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. Me too.
Yeah.
We're on opposite sides of the city.
That's right. So it's good to know that you have supportive women. Like I said, if you need help at any point, feel free to call me. and I'll call Haley. So this wraps up our episode of 4th trimester postpartum blues. If you have any questions, please remember where you can find us and follow the links below so you can get some help. Thank you. Bye. Aloha.
Bye.